water. Yeah.
Shannon, Laura Shannon.
That's it. Very good.
All right, you're
I'll
live.
check her out.
Well, I think that we are live. Hello again. This is Brian Copeland talking. Welcome to another edition of Copeland's Corner. Fresh panel, but not that fresh because she gets well been here before. Dana Gould is here with us. Robert Mack, Maureen Langan. We're talking about some of the news of the week, and I'm saying some because there's just, it's just. I'm going to start with it. Are you guys tired? I'm hearing from everybody just how exhausted they've become over the last couple of weeks because, like, I've got to write a thing for. I'm doing this show, the Great American Shit Show. It's monologues on the era of Trump, and it's four monologues. The fourth one is usually what's going on now, and I don't know what the hell to write because it's too much. It's too much, and I'm exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
But
I've stopped watching the news. It's the worst show on TV. Who comes up with this stuff?
you couldn't write stuff
You
like
couldn't
this.
write this stuff. It gets renewed every season.
Well, you know how I relax is I just go and kick back and go see the Melania movie. That's what it is that I do.
Times.
Did you see
Oh,
that where Caroline Leavitt, by the way, said that I was going to say what kind of Leavitt, it's Levitt. Is she said that the Melania movie opening made more money than Star Wars.
we're so mental. I was walking through Times Square and I was threw up. They had literally their budget to market this. They had 15 photos of her in a row from different parts of the film. And I was just like, I don't care. Do you? Like, I just want to wear that jacket that she wore when
hmm
kids were being put in cages. I don't care. But I would like to see it because I like to be informed what I'm making fun of. I like that. I do. No, I'm not joking. I would like to see it so that
It's
I can stop it.
propaganda. It's just
Totally.
propaganda. Why put money in their
Yeah, that's
pocket? And they say, I mean, you've heard the jokes that have been going around, that the movie's so bad that if it was shown on a plane, you'd still walk out.
right.
That's my favorite.
There's it's jokes like that it's like terrible. I saw a cartoon that has a guy and a girl walking out of a screening who goes, "Boy, that was so good. I forgot all about Jeffrey Epstein."
Yeah. You
And you
know,
had like a root canal on one side, the movie theater on the other, and the line was for the root canal.
That's
That's it.
funny. I
and the
didn't see
day,
that.
and it's funny because on Friday, Jeff Bezos spends $75 million on a documentary, and on Monday he guts the Washington Post.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
Well,
when
he's
you
such a
when,
whore.
when you
He's
have
such
an
a
audience
whore.
of one and that person can't read, it's not really a good job for a newspaper.
Mm.
I mean, he was so, democracy dies in darkness and, we're the fourth estate and all of this. And, we stand for the people and for the truth. And then when he gets elected again, all of a sudden he's paying let's call it what Kim will call it. It was a $40 million bribe. I mean, there's no other reason. And the emoluments clause, she shouldn't be allowed to accept it anyway. I mean, I
Oh,
don't understand why nobody has done anything. And I'm talking about the Republicans, I understand. But on the Democratic side, somebody should have filed something somewhere. They say he's up $1.5 billion since he put his hand. I
that's not
don't know.
even the word. I mean, that's the one that they just had with the AI chips that they sold
Yeah.
to I mean, but again, it's like what Steve Bannon said is true. You can't keep up with everything. If it's 7 Watergates a day,
Yeah.
your brain shuts off. It is interesting to see Senator Inouye, I think it was, or whoever it was in Hawaii, said said the stuff about Trump that's in the Epstein file. There's credible accusations that Trump are a 13-year-old girl, and that stuff. It's the
Don't
cognitive.
say Ard.
Did
Say
you
what it is.
say raped her? I wasn't sure
You
if this
know,
was a
no,
family
the
show
only
or
yes, no, well, you can say rainbow on a family show. That's
yeah,
what it is, and it's the
yeah,
fact that we're dancing around it that he's able to, downplay it. Go ahead.
yeah, and I don't. And the cognitive dissonance, you have to hear it 100 times before it hits. Like you're just now seeing with Prince Andrew.
Oh,
Former
People,
Prince,
right, but it's
the artist formerly known as
right.
Prince Andrew.
But
The,
look
the,
how
the
long
rapist formerly known as
yeah.
Prince.
But look how long it took for people to go, all right, you got to get out of here. I mean, and people, it takes, it's the straw that broke the camel's back, as I say. You have to hear it a bunch of times and then it sort of resonates. And I think people do have to just start doing that with Trump. You got to pick one thing and hit it, you know?
And that was my advice and plan at the beginning of this term was I wasn't going to run around for 4 years with my head on fire like I did the first time. I was going to pick
Yeah.
the hill that I was going to willing to die on. But the problem is I didn't realize there were going to be this many hills.
That was all,
The land of hills.
that was always the plan. You know, when you don't have shame, the sky's the limit. You know, if you just have a complete, it's literally like if you had a puma in your house. Like, what would you be upset about? The furniture, the dead kids, the dead pets, the crap on the rug? You'd have to pick one thing to focus
Ask
on.
Melanie
If you let
Griffin's mom.
Yeah, no, I know. I've seen that movie. I've seen that
I would
movie.
ask Tippi Hedren.
Yeah. Roar is the
that?
name of that movie. Yeah. Getting pelted with birds wasn't enough.
I know. Well, first of all, I don't know what the hell Steve Bannon is doing out there, and I don't know why people are still giving him credibility. I don't know why Maher had him on. He shouldn't be on television. He should be in an AA meeting. That guy is a wreck. He needs a sponsor, not interviews.
I could smell him through the screen
Oh.
watching Club Red. I could smell him through the screen. You ever see people like that where you look at them and you can tell they smell?
Yeah, he's disgusting. It is exhausting, all of this, but ironically, it's interesting to me that the UK has held the guy formerly known as Prince Andrew accountable, and we've held no one accountable here in the United States.
Well, why don't you hold on to that? 'Cause that's a question for you. So, Robert, go ahead.
I was going to say the royal family, they have an image to maintain for that lasts, centuries. Here it's one little dynasty after another, and there is no accountability because they don't have the foresight that a dynasty that's been around for centuries has. And our system is different. They rely on being admired, whereas here the rules have changed since 2016, I guess.
I would make the argument that America has a reputation and an image to uphold, or at least we did. We were the envy of the world as far as everything was concerned in terms of freedom, in terms of opportunity, in terms of at least striving for equality. There's never been equality in America. There are times that it's better than others. I'm lucky that I have spent most of my life in what is now being called by African Americans the second Reconstruction. From the Civil Rights Movement on and until Trump was the second Reconstruction, where there were active measures made by the United States government to provide equal opportunity to people who were not white men.
You know what's interesting, Brian? I am fascinated by the Civil War and Reconstruction, and I would often think to myself, and I read a lot about it, how did this happen? Where Black men, we know women aren't allowed, but how did Black men get in Congress, get elected in such great numbers, and then that
I'll tell you.
taken away?
I'll tell you.
Yeah, but let me first, and then I want to hear what you have to say. And I thought, how does that happen? And it's the same thing as how does a Holocaust happen? And then when you read history and see the similarities of the build up to things, you go, oh my God, we're watching things happen. Anyway, back to you.
Well, no, people think that things like the Holocaust, people who don't read history think that it just happened in a day, or that the end of Reconstruction happened in a day. It wasn't like that at all. But after Reconstruction, I think it was the Freedmen's Act that was passed that allowed equal rights to African Americans. And they sent the Union troops to the South to make sure that discrimination went away. And that's why you had Blanche Bruce, who was the first African American senator from Mississippi, I believe. There's a great book about him, because I'd never heard of him. And the book is called The Senator and the Socialite. And he was a Republican, because the Republicans were basically the Democrats back then, and the Democrats were the party of racism back in prior to Brown v. Board of Education. I think that's how far back it goes. And what happened? Well, you had blacks being elected to things, and basically the redneck, racist, bigot, former slaveholders were not allowed to do anything about it because you had Union troops, and not that the Union troops weren't racist, but they followed orders and kept the order. And this lasted for about 20 years, I guess, or so. And then there was, and I cannot tell you the specifics, but I can tell you generalities. There was some issue where the election got thrown, presidential election got thrown into the House of Representatives, and it had to do with the election of Rutherford B. Hayes as president. And there was finally a deal that was made where they would let Hayes be president with the proviso that the Union troops were removed from the South. And so once the
That
Union
started.
troops were removed from the South, then the KKK sprang up. Nathan Bedford Forrest started the KKK. There are high schools. There are a couple, at least two Nathan Bedford high schools today. And you got the Klan, you had Jim Crow laws coming into effect, and everything changed. But that's how Reconstruction ended. And of course, Blanche Bruce was not reelected. He served his one term, and you didn't see another black senator again for, I mean, I don't know how long. But that's how it happened. It doesn't happen, every day. I'm sorry.
why-
I'm sorry. In a day is what I meant to say.
I
It's-
know.
but a lot of people do, because why people get pissed off when you make the hit. Some people will get pissed off when you make the Hitler comparison because the
Right.
Holocaust didn't just, Hitler didn't go, okay, I'm in. Now I want to round up all the Jewish people and I want to mass exterminate them. I mean, this was an incremental thing. And
Right,
we're seeing
right.
it here incrementally.
Well, that's why too I respond when people don't like comparisons to the Holocaust because they see the end result, which is the killing of people in the camps. But if you read the history, which we all have, it was so incremental. Jews
Yeah.
living in Vienna, Jews living in the Netherlands, and then all of a sudden you can't go out during these hours. You can't shop here. You can't do your business. Wait a minute. Now I have to leave my home and I have to wait to be transported to a work camp. It just started to happen slowly. It's so frightening, and it gives me goosebumps because there are similarities.
Well, there's so many, and it
happening in
started
this
with
country.
scapegoating.
Yeah.
You have to scapegoat. If your situation is bad, it was because of foreigners and because the Jews were doing this or that or the other thing. I mean, it's the same playbook. I mean, there were many accounts that were ignored by parts of this country, and especially the corporate media, that Trump had a copy of Mein Kampf before he was even in politics. Had a copy, he read The Art of the Deal in Mein Kampf. Those were his two
Only two
favorite
books
books.
he's read. I don't even think he read his own book. His ghostwriter did it, and he just told him what to say. I doubt he read
Yeah.
his book.
That is the big difference between Hitler and Trump is that Hitler did write his book.
That's it.
and he could paint.
That's it.
Well, Hitler was sitting in a prison cell and had time. There was a thing going around about the how World War II and everything could have all, well, not World War II, but certainly what happened in Germany could have been avoided if somebody had a time machine like in the Terminator and went back in time and bought one of Hitler's paintings.
Yeah.
And bought one of Hitler's paintings. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and kick off with this. If this is your first time watching us, or we are streaming live, by the way, or listening to us on audio, the way that I do this is the way we start is I have one question that has been specially selected for each of our guests. I'll ask the question, give you a chance to answer it, and then we'll open it up for everybody else to get in and take a crack at it. So the first one that I have, and I have to go to the phone for this because I've tried to print it out for some reason and it didn't. All right, so we've got the list. We've got 3 million of the Epstein files, and I got to tell you, by the way, the thing that I just find so hysterical is that Trump's saying, "See, I told you, I hardly knew the guy." Even now, and he's in the Epstein files. So far, we've only got half, 3 million. There are another 3 million that they're fighting like hell and using privilege and everything they can not to release. He's mentioned 38,000 times. Literally 38,000 times on 5,000 different documents, and several of them detail. I don't know whether I should call these out. Should I call these allegations or not, guys? I mean, am I being unfair if I don't call them allegations?
No, I think you have to legally say.
I would say mentions.
All right,
Mentions,
38,000 shout outs.
Yeah, shout out.
in
Woo-hoo!
the Epstein files.
Yeah.
And on 5,000 different documents, but there are a lot of names that have come out. A lot of names of famous people, and here's some. And I'm not saying that any of these famous people did anything wrong. I will say allegedly, because some we know didn't do anything wrong. They just happened to, take a ride on a plane or whatever. If you went to the island, I'm sorry, you went to the island once, I'll give you a pass. Maybe you didn't know. So more than once, no. But here are names that are in the files. Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, of course, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Andrew, the Duke of York, former Prince, former Duke of York, Hillary Clinton, Al Gore, Elon Musk, Bill Gates. Bill Gates, by the way, that whole story surprised me.
Yeah.
That whole story, him having affairs and getting the story anyway, as apparent according to this, is he was having
Allegedly.
affairs and got VD from a Russian hooker, and then went back to Epstein to get antibiotics that he could crush up and secretly slip to his wife. So if he had given it to her, she wouldn't know. You didn't read that. I see the look on your face.
I did not know that part of it. No, I did
Yeah,
not know
yeah.
that part. Holy
There's a
moly.
document that says that. Richard Branson, David Copperfield. I wonder where he disappeared to. I'm sorry, it was there. It was there. Naomi Campbell, Cameron Diaz, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Blanchett, Kevin Spacey, Michael Jackson, George Lucas, Stephen Hawking. Alan Dershowitz has been fighting this way too hard, way too long for me to believe that he was innocent of anything. So that's just a handful, and there are many, many, many more people of note who are on the list. So my question to you is, first of all, who in your is the most so what's the most surprising name for you, first of all? And second of all, do you believe that anybody is ever going to be held accountable for any of this? Because so far no one has. No one has. And these people I mentioned are all, and I'm again, we don't know who was involved in shenanigans and who took a ride on the plane and ended up in the files.
Right.
But when you look at how powerful these people are, so how does this? I'm not going to ask you how this plays out because there's so many ways it could. But do you think there will ever be any accountability for these victims?
Well, what I wanted to preface it by saying is people like Kate Blanchett and George Lucas supposedly have just only been mentioned because he would name drop that he was friends with these people, or
Oh, that's why they're yeah.
So I think that's
Okay.
very important, the context in which some of these names are mentioned,
Sure.
including Leonardo DiCaprio.
John
Um,
Stewart's in them. Did you know that? John Stewart's in
yeah,
them because they did that. They mentioned him.
like he would name drop, I'm friends with this one, I'm friends with that one. So that we have to parse that out.
Yeah.
And how it's challenging to parse everything out when there's 80 skillion million pages of materials here. I think for me, what's really well, Hawking goes from what the black holes to the black book. That's amazing to me. Stephen Hawking, this guy cheated on his wife, and now he's on Epstein Island. Like, what? You spin me right round like a record? What is happening? But then supposedly he liked scientists. I don't know. Bill Gates is. I'm so glad I have an Apple instead of I went that route because that is so disappointing. It's like to hear his
Yeah.
wife talk. I really have a lot of respect for her. She said, "I left the marriage. I left the foundation. He has a lot of things to answer for, and I'm not his keeper, but he should address them." And I love her strength in that. Now, whether any of these people will be held accountable, what makes me very sad, and I brought up earlier, is that the former Prince Andrew, he's being held more accountable than anybody in America, I think, seemingly. And it's really sick that a young woman committed suicide, and these women come out in numbers and force and are not believed. And it's absolutely horrifically disgusting. And it's because they don't have the money, they don't have the power. And this boys' network has always, always, always supported each other. And I remember this isn't sexual stuff, but I remember when I was at KGO, and the guy that one of our many rotating executive, whatever, he would have the guys all going out for lunch. I'm like, "Hi, Maureen Langan here, weekend." I was called that lady on Sundays. Never included, just totally dismissed as they're all going out to the golf club or somewhere for lunch.
And it wasn't even Sundays. No, go on. I'm kidding.
But I'm just saying, like, there's this disgusting power thing that begets power where you're one of us. And it's very sad to me. I don't know if they'll ever be held accountable. And I'm watching what Trump is doing, and we're living in a time of a lack of huge accountability. My biggest prayer is that these midterms, we come out in full force and we start holding people accountable. whether it be Clinton, if that be the case, whether it be Trump or any of these freaking douchebags in a wheelchair, not in a wheelchair. I don't give a crap who you are. I want them to be held accountable. But until we value women more and stop calling them the C word if they have too strong opinions, or who cares, or The View that has 5 women with opinions and people like, oh, I can't stand that show. But nobody has a problem with 5 men discussing crap all the time.
Mhm.
All right. I defer now to the next.
All right, Robert. All right, let's open it up. Or your thoughts on the same question?
I am very curious in history if anything similar has ever happened where a cabal of such strong, powerful people have ever been held up to any account for this stuff. And the only thing I could think of is, maybe in the French Revolution when they pulled out the guillotines. Is that the only time that power can get toppled like that?
That's where I was thinking, because I remember a recent example is in 2007 when a cabal of people wrecked the global economy and nobody went to jail. Nobody. And that was under Obama. Sorry.
No,
it wasn't. He wasn't elected until 2008.
Right, but I mean, all of those trials. Yeah, nobody went to jail, and there's an impenetrable level of the powers that be, and I in terms of whether or not anybody will get accountable, I have no idea what's possible and not anymore. I mean, if you had told me a year ago, no, all that QAnon stuff is kind of right. It's just that it's their leader that's doing it. It's like,
you just said something very powerful, Dana. You said you don't know what's possible or not possible anymore. That's very powerful what you just said, because that's the truth. We don't know what's possible or not anymore because we're watching things unfold that we never thought were possible.
Yeah, no, it's truly. I'm just.
It's hard to find a word, huh?
Well, we're flooded. We're all flooded. Everybody is walking around with high-grade depression or low-grade anxiety because we're full of cortisol. If we're in any way plugged in to what's going on globally, and there are things that are just so big, you can't ingest them. Remember shock and awe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good old days.
That was when we destroyed the city of Baghdad because they had weapons of mass destruction and were behind 9/11. Only they weren't.
Right.
But we never said, oh, we shocked and awed the wrong place.
Mm-hmm.
We just, how many hundreds of thousands of people were killed?
But Halliburton made some money, so
yeah. But it's like, how many? What are they? 600,000 people are going to die because of the destruction of USAID.
Something like that.
It's just at a certain point it becomes so big.
Yeah, I just did. I know you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to make. I'd like to only what make me sick to actually total up the people who you could directly point a finger to and say they're dead because Donald Trump is president. I mean, when you talk about that, USA, when you talk about COVID and how there are 100,000 people that died that didn't have, we lost 325,000 total in America. And 100,000 of them, according to Dr. Birch and Dr. Fauci, who are somehow the villains in this,
I know.
100,000 of them are lost because of public health information that was in the presidential briefings that he and his aides deliberately took out because they believed it made the administration look bad. So the public did not get this information and people died. And that's not counting the politicization of the vaccines, which some people did not take and died because of, or the politicization of wearing a mask, which some people refused to do because it was letting them liberally tell us what to do. So give me the horse dewormer instead. And so I mean, so how many people are dead? How many people are going to die because of stupid anti-vax horse shit that they are in policy that they're letting Kennedy Jr. make? I mean,
the cruelty is unbelievable. You know what's interesting is he'll talk about how we're making America great again and that we're respected around the world. I travel a lot around the world. Very few people have gone, oh my God, Maureen, I'm so proud of America. But this is fun. It's not even funny. It's sad. I'm going to do a show. I'm going to Germany and Prague and London in a few weeks. And in Prague, they're promoting me as being from Ireland. My mother's from Ireland. I have Irish citizenship. I have a passport. I am legally a citizen of Ireland, but I'm American. I'm Irish American. So I said to my manager, could you just tell her to change it to USA? And she goes, okay, they got back to me. They really like to keep Ireland.
Yeah.
And that says it all.
They'll
That
add
says it all.
USA. So they're putting Ireland and USA. Like they don't want to put me down as being from America. Is that crazy? But I
It's-
understand.
Totally understandable.
Isn't that crazy though? I'm laughing because
It's-
it's so sad.
Our friend,
It's sad. Go ahead.
I was going to
sorry.
say, Maureen, our friend Mike in London, who I
Oh,
think you know.
Brian knows Mike. Mike
Oh, yeah.
Capizzola.
Capizzola, he travels all over Europe and performs, and he has a similar issue that the minute they hear his voice, the perception of America has changed so much that he's in he can't do what he used to be able to do because of what Trump and his cronies have, how great they have changed the country, that it has leaked down to anyone associated. It's the minute they hear his accent, they shut him out.
Well, I've been working on the Irish accent, you know, Robert. So when I get over there, maybe they'd be nice to me. How for fuck's sake, it's not me fault.
I mean, we are, you know, we're the laughing stock of the world, and we are despised in many parts. America's always been despised in parts of the world, but you know, Canada. I mean, how do you
What do you
piss?
think
They're the
Canada
nicest
is?
people on the planet are Canadians. I mean, how do you piss off Canada? I
Tara,
mean, so. But going back, something we were talking about earlier and before we started streaming was you know, some of the names, and a friend of ours who Dana had a conversation with, who I'm not going to mention, who was talking to about Woody Allen, and I saw a quote where he quite proudly said, Woody Allen quite proudly said that he and Sun Yi had many wonderful dinners and wonderful evenings with Jeffrey Epstein in Jeffrey Epstein's home.
Well,
And
you're
he's
talking
not-
about Woody Allen,
and he's
who
not-
married his own daughter. So
No,
when
he didn't. Stop.
Yes,
That's
he did.
not
Well,
true.
to
You
me,
know,
it is,
that is not true.
Brian.
Well,
he married
Brian,
his
let me say
girlfriend's
this.
adopted
Well, we'll back up. What he did was shitty. You don't cheat on your girlfriend and we don't have an affair with your girlfriend's daughter to start with. That's
Michael,
shitty.
basically-
I'm not making a pass for that. But let's be
Right.
factual.
Here's
He
the-
did not marry his daughter.
Here's the
Go ahead.
list of people. Here's the list of people he could have slept with,
Right.
and the people that he couldn't. It's right there: his wife's daughters,
His girlfriends.
and
His
his
girl-
girlfriend's daughters, and mom. He,
Thank you, Dana.
here on this
Thank
side,
you, Dana.
on this side, it's
Thank you, Dana.
everybody else on Earth.
Agreed.
Everyone on Earth.
Agreed.
4 people.
Brian, I
But
know
that's
she's
4
not
people.
his
It's-
biological daughter, but he was her father figure for many years.
No, he was not
Oh,
her
how can
father
you defend
figure.
that? Yes, he was.
No, he was. Again, I've done so much reading and discussion on this case. I'm telling you,
You go support Woody Allen.
here's what it is that he did, and what he did was scummy and was wrong. And let's make no mistake
He
about
knew
it
her since she was
whatsoever.
pubescent. He knew her since she was a child.
He knew her since she was a teenager. Yeah, absolutely. But again, it doesn't make any. Regardless, that's wrong. Though I'm not saying it's not wrong.
He
What I'm
was not
saying
a
is-
father figure to her.
No, and Andre Previn, who was her father, who Mia adopted her with.
Right.
He was her father figure. He was the one who came and took her to this, that, and the other thing, as fathers do during divorced fathers do during visitation.
Was he a
But what-
stepfather figure?
He didn't live in the same place. They lived it up. They had places on opposite sides of Central Park. They had a child together who's now Ronan. He was born Satchel after Satchel Paige.
Yes.
His name Ronan. You know, but regardless, it's still scummy and it's still wrong. And so I want to make sure I'm clear about that. You
Right.
don't. There are places you don't go. I'll throw this out. A woman once told me this, is that if you break up with your girlfriend, not only are, you know, her family members obviously off limits to try to date, all of her friends are off limits.
Hmm.
Do you agree with that?
Well, it
Everybody who's
depends
her
on
friend.
if she wants to stay friends with them. She doesn't
Are
care.
you friends with Epstein? What are you saying here, Brian?
What am I saying here is that there are certain social rules there are certain I'm not going to call it a social contract, but you don't. There are places that it's just you can leave. She was of age. He was not legally related to her. Yeah, legally he could do it, but it's a shitty thing to do.
It was
And
so undermining to an integrity of a family, to the respect of his
agreed,
partner. They were
agreed.
partners. It wasn't like
They were
casualties. They were partners. She
for
shares a
years.
brother. She shares a brother. Their
Mhm.
mother. I mean, it is so disgustingly icky. He is so twisted in his screwy, fucked up mind. I can't even. He makes me sick. I refuse to be in one of his films. As if
Well,
he's
there are a
gonna
lot of people saying
or
that.
unless he asks. Unless he asks. Then I might
Well,
get
A whole different
it's
thing.
interesting because when they asked him, I mean, in terms of what he said about Epstein, clearly this is not somebody who is any longer hung up on public approval or not. I
Yeah.
think he actually
Right.
I think the thing that he said was intentionally provocative. And in
right.
terms of what he said at the time was, the heart wants what it wants,
Mhm.
which if you disseminate is, I wanted to.
Uh-huh.
You know, that was Manson's excuse. Why did you kill the? I wanted to. You know, it's like, why did you do this? Terrible. I wanted to. And I
now, but
think for
there's
a while that if
Go
you
ahead.
don't hear no for 30, 40 years, you start to make decisions like that.
Okay.
I like your
All right,
point.
but
Dana. I like your point.
in the heart want okay, what you're saying is accurate and is
That's
correct.
his
But
pet name for
hasn't
his
there?
dick.
It's not a defense.
But
It's
no,
not a
it's not.
defense.
No, it's not a
It's-
defense at all. It's a take. But let
Yeah.
me ask you the same take. Have any of you ever been in a relationship with somebody, a long term or short term, where afterwards you go, "What the fuck was I thinking?
Oh God.
How did I do that? Why did I do that? Why didn't?" Because at the time the heart wanted what the heart wanted, even though the heart was wrong. And that's what I'm saying. There are two takes. I mean, I got baby reindeered. That's what I'm saying. I got baby reindeer.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God. I wanna hear that
I'll tell you guys.
story.
Actually,
Ooh.
I'm writing. That's my next play.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
That-
I can't wait.
That is my next play.
Oh,
Yeah,
I can't wait.
I got baby reindeered.
I got
So
baby reindeer. I love
you
it.
like that? I got
Delicious.
So, and yes, now that I'm out of the cult, I can look back and go, boy, that was wrong. How did I allow myself? Well, I can't believe I let that go. So what I'm saying is that what you're saying is accurate, Dana, in that is a take and it's not an excuse. And I want to be real clear in this. I'm not excusing that behavior. I'm just saying be accurate. She wasn't his daughter. That's all I'm saying.
It was hyperbole on my end. I know, but for all intents and purposes, they were acting as a family unit.
Well, I know. I've got a worse one. I won't tell you who it is. I mean, I'll tell you off the air
come on.
who it is. But
Put it in the
it's
chat.
somebody who got caught. He was married, an older actor, an older, very, very famous Academy Award-winning actor,
Okay.
who was apparently in a sexual relationship with the granddaughter of his wife. Now that's
I know
different.
who that is. I know.
So, do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was some press on it. But
Yeah, it's just like-
I'm not. I don't want to get sued. So
Like-
It wouldn't
Here's a good
surprise me if
idea. Don't.
Granddaughter. Wait, what was it? An actor who dated? I'm always with this.
I'm not going to say dated, but, but
Actor
who was involved
screwed his wife's granddaughter.
yes, basically yes.
What's really sad is you guys are probably talking about two different people because I'm sure that has happened
Oh,
multiple
really?
times. Oh, come on. Put it in the chat.
Oh, there's so much that. But then again, there are those. I went to this writers retreat. I think I mentioned to you when we were off the air, and it was in Danville, California. And in Danville, California, here in the Bay Area, for a long time, the playwright Eugene O'Neill.
Yeah, that's what I was
lived there.
gonna say first.
And Eugene O'Neill. No, it's not. You see, you got that story mixed up too. It was not. Eugene O'Neill wrote a lot of things. And yes, what you just put there, Maureen, that's absolutely correct. Yes.
But I did say some
yes.
plus. I can't believe it's
Don't
one of your people.
no. Don't get us sued. Do not
I
get
said
us.
supposedly, allegedly.
Okay,
I
but
said
okay,
supposedly,
all right,
allegedly. I never said a name.
okay,
I'm not outing a name. I
all
said
right.
supposedly, allegedly. It's a
You,
rumor has
you,
it. There is no verification on my end. I'm not putting a name out.
okay. Eugene O'Neill had a daughter who was 16 or 17, Una,
Una.
who
Una.
fell in love with and married Charlie Chaplin when Chaplin was 54 or something like that.
Yeah.
And he never spoke to her again. He completely disowned her, but they ended up having 8 kids and being married for 35 years.
Yeah, that's
So is that a true love story, or was that something else?
I think he meet her when she was much younger and then groomed her for a couple of years, and she was supposed to marry JD Salinger. Is that it?
oh, another creep. This is like creep parade today.
Yeah, he had
But
a lot of younger
but
women he was
but
involved with.
Chaplin
Or,
swooped
no,
in and
no, that's not
said,
like women, girls, from what I understand.
"Girls, ah,
It's
You
like
have
they
to
were
read-
running through the rye and he caught them.
write that down. That's good. That's good stuff."
Okay,
there, Dana.
I'm the one human on the planet who, when it was assigned, I didn't read it.
He met
Catcher.
Eugene
I didn't
O'Neill.
read it.
Charlie Chaplin supposedly met her when she was 17 and he was 53. He was considering her for a role in his film Shadow and Substance. They married in 1943. Now, Joyce Maynard wrote a great book about her relationship with J.D. Salinger. That is fascinating. Okay.
And I should mention that Joyce Maynard is a Facebook friend of mine, so she may be watching.
Oh, she is her book. She's amazing.
I
Great
Oh,
stuff.
absolutely
If
love
you're
her.
watching,
Shout
Well,
out
I'll,
to
I'll
Joyce
go.
Maynard.
I got another one too for you. That's not.
Ooh,
Well, I
more.
know I don't want to be too judgmental or say there's anything wrong with it. It's just in terms of the age difference thing, and that's in terms of the age difference thing, and that is you've all seen White Christmas, right?
Mhm.
Have you all seen the movie White Christmas? Bing
Sure,
Crosby,
yeah.
Joe Kay?
Sisters,
Oh.
sisters. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. So the general's daughter, the General Waverly has this granddaughter, rather, I should say, who lives with him and his maid in the inn. Um, she got the actress who got the part had to compete against another actress, and the other actress didn't get the part, but she ended up marrying Bing.
Oh,
That's how he met Catherine, was she auditioned for the part of the general's daughter. Now, I'm not saying anything was, untoward that happened there. I'm just saying is that was, apparently quite an age difference. And she just passed. She just passed, I guess, in the last year, I think she passed away. And they lived here in the Bay Area, as a matter of fact. Anyway, I'll tell you what. There's something else that you mentioned that they're about I just wanted to throw this out. The credible evidence about um, Trump allegedly raping a 13-year-old girl, and again about accountability. He has threatened to sue Trevor Noah over a joke. He's threatened it for millions and billions of dollars over a joke that he told during the Grammys. Yet this 13-year-old apparently testified under oath as to what happened, and I didn't hear anything about a lawsuit. Did you?
well,
A lawsuit for defamation or anything else? Did you?
he's not a chess master. What is interesting, here's the one, it's like, here's the one thing that you can't argue is that we've all heard that we have known this person for decades, and we've heard the Access Hollywood tape, and this is somebody that is congenitally incapable of shame. His personality defects are so pronounced. He is like a feral animal.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the only thing in his life that I have ever seen where he is clearly afraid, ashamed, alarmed. Nothing he does is the behavior of an innocent person.
Oh no, no. The latest quote from him on this is that America's had enough of this. It's time to move on. Nobody cares what.
Yeah, let's remember in March,
Yeah.
Kash Patel and Pam Bondi both said, "We've gone through the files. There's nothing in them."
Nothing here.
That was.
Well,
in
I'll
March.
tell you, out of all of this, here's the shittiest thing.
Those
the
people have to go to jail.
Yeah,
Yes.
but will they? And here's the
Yeah.
shittiest thing.
that.
One of the
Well-
shittiest things, aside from the abuse itself, if you see the original files when they claimed that they, in the first 1% that they released, when they claimed that it was nothing,
Mhm.
after the redactions, literally you had a majority of pages that were all black. That's all it was.
Right.
Every
Mhm.
single word was blacked out. Now, in this latest cache of 3 million that they released, not only do you have the information that we have, um, the purpose of redaction in these situations is to protect victims. That's the purpose of redaction. You don't put the victims' names, whatnot. Well, they released whereas they redacted names of associates of Epstein and you can assume associates of the president. They released files that had full lists of the names of the girls, and they released documents that had pictures of them
Pictures, yeah.
as teenagers. And they're furious. It's like they're being victimized again. And there's no way that's an accident.
No,
There's no way that's a mistake.
no, it's subhuman, but some of this, I have to be honest. Like you see these things like 9-year-old or like, did you torture her? These, I have to be completely honest. I didn't think that stuff really happened
Well, sure, there's some stuff.
in the world.
Oh,
Like
the world.
I really didn't think that anybody really could do outside of like a serial killer in a cabin, like
Yeah.
like the eyes wide shut of it. We all
Yeah.
thought that was
Yeah.
lunacy, and like no,
Yeah.
no, it's not.
Yeah, there's a
These-
naivete, I think, collectively. I have found it abhorrent the things that people are capable of doing and the times in which we're living. And you go,
Yeah,
I think that was really possible. And it really is.
yeah, that's how. I mean, I really didn't. And there is a level of like you have to like the thing about I think it's Ted Lieu, Senator Ted Lieu, who said talking about the 13-year-old girl, and I think you just have to keep saying it because it's going to take 200 or 300 times before it lands on people.
But can you sum it up for me, Brian? What happened with the 13-year-old? I've been hearing that there's so much like
I
you
don't.
were
I
saying,
don't
there's
have.
so much
I don't
in
have
here.
all the details. Because
all
it,
right.
it made me sick. I mean,
Yeah,
I didn't. All I needed to know was that he had been credibly accused of raping a 13-year-old girl. I don't need to
Absolutely,
know.
yeah.
I don't need to know the details.
And these documents were available years ago and have been circulating for quite some time. And I think I think they got paid off, and there was a non-disclosure thing, and that is why those kind of disappeared.
But the thing is, though, as far as NDA, because there are all these rich people who are legal eagles who think they're super smart by getting someone who's been wrong to sign an NDA. And if there's criminal conduct involved, you can violate the NDA without any kind of repercussions. An NDA doesn't mean jack shit if the purpose of the NDA is to cover up a crime,
Right.
and that's in any jurisdiction. So it doesn't matter what they signed.
But
And
if you're
and it would have been the parents who signed anyway.
if you're a humiliated 13-year-old and parents who might not know any of this stuff, and someone hands you a bucket of money and says shut up or we'll come back, then I think that's what happened to.
Yeah.
And there seems to be, this isn't just one or two, there seems to be dozens of these cases that are credible. And I didn't think something like this could happen either, but at one point, I mean, I didn't know snuff films were a thing, and then I learned
Yeah.
that it was, and now
Yes.
all of this.
Oh,
You know,
Wow.
when I was a kid, my mother once told me that always remember, under the right set of circumstances or the wrong set of circumstances, anybody is capable of anything. So don't be surprised, because you're saying that you didn't know that things like this really happen, and it is hard to believe that things like this really, really happen. But given the person, under the right circumstances, right meaning whatever their circumstances happen to be that would enable them to go that way,
Yeah.
or the wrong set of circumstances. I am not capable of murder, but if somebody's about to harm my child or my grandchild, I'm capable of murder
right.
under the right or wrong set of
Right.
circumstances.
Right. I understand that.
Yeah,
So,
it's horrible. And if those circumstances also include that I am wealthy and all of these other people are in on this thing, and there is that safety in numbers, and we can get away with this, and they did for decades.
Yeah,
And
and
my
it's
question
also,
for
there's a chicken and the egg element to it, and this isn't a universal, but how do these, why are these powerful people so effed up? Well, a lot of times you have to be that effed up to have the focus and drive to amass power. Who wants to be the president of the United States? It's like you have to have a level of lunacy to think, yeah, who'd be a good person to be in charge of everyone? Me. It's like, there's a level of lunacy that I'm not saying it's universal.
Great delivery, Dana. Great delivery. It was so
that was
good.
really brilliant.
Perfect.
It was really, really. Let me move on quickly because Maureen's got to scoot. So there are a couple of other things that I want to mention. I'll go to you next, Dana. Trump has said on a couple of podcasts very recently, and he also kind of reiterated it in a press conference, that because of the fraud, they're terrified about the midterms because they just lost a big red state congressional election in Texas in a district. Robert, just sit down. Thank you.
sorry about that. I had to.
In a district that Trump won by something like 17 points, they lost by close to that to a Democrat for the first time in like forever. So they're terrified. So he's saying that he's making noise about federalizing the elections in blue states because of the fraud, meaning that which is completely unconstitutional. Because the elections and election procedures are left up to the states, like abortion was supposed to be when they were yelling for it to be illegal, left up to the states. But it's left. But that is under the jurisdiction of the states. But he wants to federalize it, and right now, he's making the moves to be able to do it. They seized DOJ seized a whole bunch of ballots and voting records from Fulton County dealing with 2020. And they're going to go to places and do crap like this, so then they can doctor it up or cherry pick and say, see, and it's like, no, it has not been fraud. The only fraud they've caught have been on the right voting for him 3 times, that kind of stuff. Wow. So my question to you is this: he tried. I should mention this. Preface this is he had this idea in 2020. And he tried to do it in 2020 to have the military come in and seize machines and to federalize in the states that he lost. Even had the executive order drawn up, and whether or not it would have been legal, who knows. And what happened was those who were around him who had sense basically said, "You do that, and I quit." And that's why he didn't do it. Now,
and all those people are gone.
Now they're gone, and those who are there will enable them. So, number one, do you think he would do it? Number two, do you think he can do it? Number three, do you think he can get away with it?
I don't know if he. I don't know if. He's he'll try, and what he's doing now is, there's 2 things. One, he knows, and it's true. If you just say a lie enough, and people believe it. And he's just like, there's a problem. The elections aren't safe. That's why they sent the DNI down there. It's just like, they don't have to prove anything. They just have to do what they do, muddy the water, sow enough doubt. The other thing that they're planning on is all of these provocations, and it's going to be a long, hot summer. And all of these provocations to foment civil unrest.
That's right.
Helps them. Like we could do the martial law or the Insurrection Act, anything that allows them to clamp down on access to voting. And so it's really up to the people who are protesting, and I am one of them, to do it smart. And it's nonviolent. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, and we saw this in Minneapolis, there's a guy in the middle of the protest burning a flag, and then later on, he stands on the corner and the ICE truck picks him up. Mm-hmm. They're sending people into the protests to start the trouble that then they will then react to. So it's really, this is an all hands on deck, and we have to fight, and we have to fight it smart. Is he going to try it? Yeah. Can he get away with it? I hope not. He will absolutely try it.
Because they're terrified. They're not
And the hope is, the hope is that you absolutely can monkey around on the edges. You can't stop an electoral wave, and people just have to be smart and vote. And I don't want to hear Jill Stein's name again.
Oh God.
God. I'm convinced that 90% of the third wave protest votes that you read about online are just bots. I don't think that those people are real or serious anymore. I don't respond to them anymore. What are you going to throw my vote away on somebody that had a questionable position on fracking 13 years ago? No, I don't really think those people are real. And those people that didn't vote for Kamala Harris, you got what you deserved. The problem is you took a lot of other good people down with you.
Robert, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know what your 3 questions were exactly, but
I've forgotten them myself, but go ahead.
I think the first one is yes.
Well, it was fuck, marry, kill.
Okay. Or Jill. Was it Jill? It was, will he
That
try
a Catholic girl, Mary Jill? Go ahead.
Will he try it? Yes, of course. Will he have, I don't know, be able to pull it off? Or the third one I would say is no. I think constitutionally, I'm not a constitutional scholar. I'm a lover. But I think from what I've heard, that the laws are spelled out where it's up to the states, and there's no way that he can finagle that unless he changes the Constitution. So I think he will try, and he'll act like he has the right to do it. But I think once it goes to court, he has little say in that. But Dana was right. There are ways that you can game the system and put agitators at protests and make it look like we're the bad guys when they're playing that. But I think from a legal standpoint, from the expert I saw yesterday, there's nothing he can do.
Well, I'll tell you, March 28th scares the shit out of me. March 28th is going to be the next No King's Day, and that will be probably the largest protest ever seen in the history of America. And there's going to be a skirmish somewhere. And that's the reason why it scares the hell out of me, is because I
probably right there.
Something.
But I will say I've been really
give him something to use to invoke the Insurrection Act.
But I've been very gratified pleasantly by the response to Minneapolis and the ubiquity of phones, which it's like
they've saved the day.
Yeah, they really do. That people are like, you can see them lie in real time.
Mm-hmm.
It was really here's a reference. It was a Bull Connor moment.
Yep.
It was people going like, oh, is this really happening? And it turned most people off. And you'll always get, people that will take the side. And, and as usual, the people in power will be the last people to go along. But there was an innate revulsion there. And I think that that's going to carry over through the rest of the term, and hopefully up until the midterms, and then once the midterms are, we're going to have midterms, and we're probably going to win. The problem is, what I don't want to see is that, then they'll win and Chuck Schumer will come out and be hell bent on common ground.
I'm sorry, but you're so right. But it's so hilarious. It's not funny, but it's so truthful. The truth in it is hilarious. Oh, God. Trump will do whatever he wants to do because he's not been held accountable to anything thus far. The people of Minneapolis, God love you. You are our conscience. You are our core. And we emulate you, and we have to be you collectively. But he will do whatever he wants because there have been nobody holding his feet to the flames. And the Supreme Court, in my naivete, I thought there's checks, balance, people have integrity, but you got Alito and you got freaking Thomas. I can't even handle it. So unless he will push to any nth degree that he can until we collectively stop him. Hopefully in the midterms, hopefully with rallies like Minnesota. You have a representative who came out, I can't remember his name, a Republican, who said, with these election machines in Georgia, well, people believe that there was wrongdoing in the elections. Well, give a crap what you believe. You're believing it because Trump's telling you to believe
Yeah.
it.
My granddaughter believes in Santa Claus. And
Yeah, right. And he's more real. Oregon right now, there was a meeting today with them trying to say what they're going to do in case they get descended upon. So it's very scary. He will do whatever he wants because he did it with ICE. And this again, I don't know where the hell, there is no due process. They are only accountable to Trump. So I thought if you take people against their will, if you don't have warrants, if you don't have all the right things to do it, you can't. But you can because he has bypassed all of it.
Yeah.
So he will bypass every single thing until we get him the hell out of there and make him render him powerless in the midterms. That's
okay,
all we got.
with that, I'm going to stop you because I know that you have
I know I have to go, so
you've got to
bye-bye.
go. No, I know that you
I
have.
do.
I'm not going to call you. You have to go. Before you go, though, you have a bunch of shows coming up.
Yeah, I just arrived from New York. I have a bunch of shows here in Northern California. I'm in Fairfax, Santa Rosa, Mill Valley at Throckmorton, and in San Francisco. So go to maureenlangan.com/gigs or follow me on Instagram. And I just always love being on your show, Brian. Great to hang with you guys, Robert and Dana. You guys are brilliant and hilarious, and all the best. That's what I got.
All right, Maureen Langan.
Bye, you
I'll
guys.
see you soon, huh? Holler
right,
at me when
honey.
you're here.
Can't wait to see
Bye.
the next show of yours. Woohoo! Baby reindeer. All right, bye.
I've got a different name, but I'm
Yeah,
calling.
all right, we'll work on something.
Yeah. So just something that you had me made me think about, Dana, when you were talking about just everybody having phones. I just a vision that just flashed in my head. Do you think that we would know more if everybody if everybody at Dealey Plaza had cell phones? No, I started thinking about that. Instead of just this one shaky black and white. I mean, if there were,
We're all
if there were
Abe
50
Zapruder.
million, he had cameras. There would be no question about whether or not there was another shot. They go, no, what's that flash over there?
That's a,
I just wondered.
Brian, it's a great idea. Everyone should wear body cams all the time, and then there won't be questions about anything.
Well, when you look at I'm writing crime fiction novels, and one of the things that's a pain in the ass is that, and kind of takes some of the fun out of it, is that there are street cameras everywhere.
Yeah, especially in Britain. CCTV is all over the every crime drama is, can we get CCTV? Can we get CCTV? Can we get CCTV? It's very hard. I'm working on a film, and the first thing you have to do is minimize phones because they just take all the action out of everything.
Yeah,
They really do. I mean, all the detecting, it's like, you got to do is you pull the street camera from, but between street cameras, that's the two things I have to just ignore, or, they're not working here. They were out of order. So I pulled out a few times. The rings between ring cameras and those, that's the biggest pain in the ass in terms of writing crime fiction.
Set it in the 90s. That's all you have to do.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Put it back before everything we watch on TV now. They just pick up their phone and they get their answer there. Well, let me check with Bobby at the morgue, and it's
so weird. We were just going through home movies and things, and we were at a Halloween party with the girls in 2008. Nobody had phones.
Yep.
It was really weird. Bunch of people walk around, nobody's holding a phone.
Oh, I remember having a whole big argument when my daughter turned 12. It would have been, I want to say about around maybe 04, 05.
Yeah.
And we had a whole big argument that it turned into such a thing. I put her on the radio and let callers call in and give me their thoughts on it. At 12 years old, she wanted a cell phone. And my position was there is no reason for a 12-year-old, and this is before smartphones, this is when there was just flip phones, but there's no reason for a 12-year-old to have a cell phone. And the overwhelming majority of people who called sided with me. And now, you got them younger than that have them. These kids
because of the Find My app, I know where all my kids are all the time, and I kind of do like that.
Yeah, so that's that some good.
You got to get him chipped. You got to get him chipped like a dog.
Well, that's going to happen, right? That eventually that's going to happen.
Good.
And I got to tell you, in the past, I mean, we're all, here's the thing that's interesting. I'm finding, and I just hate saying stuff like this because makes me sound like such an old man. But it's that Gen Zers and millennials don't give a shit about privacy. I remember when they put when the CCTV first came in Britain with the street cameras, everybody went crazy about privacy and being tracked and all this.
Yeah.
And now they're here and they're all over the place, and we're voluntarily walking around.
Yeah.
Everywhere where I go, I'm walking around voluntarily with a tracking device.
The two things they can't believe people ever did was have privacy and pay for music.
And go out and have to pay to see
Yeah.
porn
What?
or to
You had
buy
to-
something.
You had to pay?
It's just, but privacy is something that they don't care about
Yeah.
anymore, or that you can just
Very
go online
true.
and find out anything about anybody.
Yeah, that's very true.
Let me see, Robert, you didn't get your question.
I
But
didn't. No.
we kind of touched on it, but I'm going to go ahead and ask you what we say anyway, and that is,
Which one of Mia Farrow's children would you like to date?
Ronan, I think. Who looks a
I
lot
knew you were
like,
going to go there. I
It's
didn't know
all
you
like
were
Frank
gonna
Sinatra.
looks a lot like Frank Sinatra.
Identical.
Is that?
If you look at side by side pictures of them at the same age,
And who is allegedly the father? Woody Allen?
well, allegedly it's Woody Allen, and after the divorce,
that is impossible.
and
That is,
I read his book. I read Woody Allen's book, much apropos of nothing. And he calls it out because he says, because it was when they split up that she said that Frank Sinatra was the father. And
Okay.
he said, I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't seen him since he was little. But the fact of the matter is that if that's the truth, why was I stuck paying child support for 18 years?
oh, all right. So it is about him.
By the way,
send it back.
just a
That's
quick,
that's kind of a fair question.
It is a fair question.
no, it is, but even
It's not
aside
like Frank didn't have it.
even aside from that, though, that in most states, and this all came out because of 23andMe and Ancestry.com, a lot of people found out that dad was really the mailman. And
Yeah.
people who got divorced and guys who were paying child support find out that the kid wasn't theirs and that their wife had an affair, and they go to court and they try to get the child support they're on, saying, let the father pay for it. She cheated on me and I got to pay now for 18 years for her affair.
Right.
And what the position of the courts is that if you were married to her, in the eyes of the law, you were the father.
Oh, that's
Period.
interesting.
And so therefore you got to pay. So if your wife cheats on you and gets knocked up and then divorces you, it's on you for
Huh.
18 years. If you're, I
Who
even
knew?
say if you're a guy, I shouldn't say that because you have same-sex marriages, but I don't know how they determine it, but you have to pay as if you are the biological parent. Anyway,
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
yeah, well, now you know. So, so keep away. DNA tests have messed up. They say so many families. There's so many families
That's
that
funny.
have found out stuff that's just better. The stuff you're better off not knowing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
that
yeah.
So I'm sorry, Robert. The question
Yeah.
is, so we sort of touched on it a little bit, but I'll just boil it down to this: with what we are finding out from the Epstein files and how these people of power have protected each other and protected themselves, and how they traded favors back and forth, and business being done back and forth while they are in this worldwide pedophile ring. What do you think that this says, if anything, about wealth and privilege and power in this country and in the world, and how it works?
Well, in the world, it's interesting. I was in Mexico last week, and I got a whole history lesson of colonialism. And colonialism, these conquistadors were absolutely horrible, and they did the most horrific things along similar lines of what Epstein's people were doing. And I thought, oh, that could never happen anywhere else. But it's 500 years later, and the exact same thing is happening here. And because they have wealth, they have power. And because they have power, they will be immune to any I'm trying to think of who has faced jail time from something like this. Bill Cosby was in jail for a little bit, and whatever happened to Weinstein? Does he serve
Oh,
any time at
Weinstein's
all?
He's in jail.
He's
Yeah.
and he's in jail,
So
and he's in jail in two jurisdictions. He's in jail, and his conviction was overturned in New York, and it wasn't because he didn't do it. It was because they made the same mistake they made with Cosby, and that is you cannot bring other women in who have no, other victims in or alleged victims in who had nothing to do with the case you're being tried for, and say he did it to me, and so therefore the inference being that since he did it to me, he did it to her. And I understand the logic behind it, but that's not how the law works. And that's why they threw Cosby's out, and that's why they threw this one out. But they retried him, and then but they got him in L.A. In L.A. they got him, dead, dead to right. There were no irregularities in the prosecution, so he's done.
and what's interesting to me is, as we know, a lot of times people will they'll accuse the others of something that they've done.
Yeah, it's so
Right,
on the
right.
nose.
And it was I live very close to Washington, D.C., and like 5 miles from here is a place called Comet Pizza. And I don't know if you remember, like
Mhm.
5 years ago, there was all these allegations about
Pizzagate.
It was
Pizzagate.
my friend's ex-husband's phone
Oh, wow.
was stolen for Pizzagate.
Are you
It's
serious?
Yeah.
they said
Under
that
Podesta.
in the basement there was this cult of
Yeah.
child eating cannibals and just this horrific story. And it turns out, of course, some guy showed up with a shotgun, and they're like, "We don't even have."
Oh
a
no, not a
basement."
shotgun, an assault weapon.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I forget
It's
what
like,
it
we
was.
don't. Yeah, like we don't have a basement.
We don't even have a basement. And so, you know what that means? I ate all those babies for nothing. But actually, not for nothing. Look at my skin glow. But the point is, these stories, they seem absolutely ridiculous. But then when the shoe's on the other foot, now it's a whole different ball game. And I guess to answer your question, I don't know if anyone is going to be held accountable, but I would love to see something where a politician has due process the way that they should. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen. You see it in other countries. You see it when, dictators get hanged and all of that.
Mhm.
Can that happen here? There's no
No.
precedent, so we don't know. That's
Yeah. This is it really is in an unprecedented era. And
unprecedented.
yeah, true. And it is, I mean, hopefully the lesson, because I don't know how out of the mainstream I am in terms of my awareness of it and response to it. Like I assume that everybody I know spends the first 45 minutes of every day raging at the news. Most people don't. I guess they look at the sports page and go to work. And so I don't know how many people are, but it does seem to me that people really didn't take their responsibility lightly. I mean, seriously. And I think a lot of people just like, yeah, eggs are expensive, vote for him again. And then it just like, it's FAFO. It's like, okay, well, how you like it now? And I really don't want to hear, the whole Andrew Schultz of it, all these broadcasters that are like, oh, I guess it's like, if only you were warned. If only someone had warned you.
If only someone had printed a book
Yeah.
that had everything in it that could possibly happen.
Yeah.
Or laid out a blueprint.
Yeah.
That was available.
How could I have
everyone.
ever imagined that he would have done the things he said he wanted to do?
Well, history does, in fact, repeat itself. And I'll go back to your comment, Robert. And that is, it just goes to reinforce it. Anything that's happened before can happen again. And I'll give you another example you made me think of when you're talking about that Pizzagate thing. Remember the McMartin preschool case back in the 80s?
Yeah.
And man, that was the same thing. All these parents were somehow led to believe that this little old lady and her daughter, or little lady and her family that ran a daycare center had secret tunnels like the Bat Cave, running, in a labyrinth underneath this house, and that they were taking children down there and molesting them and torturing them. And if you're questioning a kid who's 4 over and over and over again, eventually they're going to say, whatever it is that they think it is that you want to hear. And
Mhm.
they lost everything, and there were trials, and I mean, it was all horse shit. And but the thing is, people, as ridiculous as that is, people actually believed it, and it destroyed this family. And most people heard all of the allegations and all of the molestation stuff, but most people didn't hear how it ended up. And what it ended up was it was all bullshit. There
Yeah.
were no caves or tunnels or anything underneath that. But nobody was getting molested there. But somehow, I forget how it started, but people will believe it. You got
Because the
that guy.
retraction, the headline is on the front for days and days and weeks, and the retraction is a little story on page
Right.
17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do like I find myself thinking like, oh my God, was that true? Like there was always this conspiracy that Stanley Kubrick was killed because he was exposing this world in Eyes Wide Shut because he died before it came out.
Oh, that's right.
Hmm.
And
I
now I'm
forgot
like,
that was this
and
one.
now I'm like, huh, oh, maybe. I mean, it's funny. Marjorie Taylor Greene said that before she left Congress, she would read the names because she's read the unredacted files. She would read the names of everybody. And her last day was yesterday or the day before. I'm sure someone said, you can do this. We'll kill your family.
You
I'm
know what?
sure.
I don't doubt it. I do not doubt it for a second. I mean, I just finished reading a book about Dorothy Kilgallen.
Yeah,
You familiar with Dorothy Kilgallen?
sure. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I'm
Robert,
not.
Dorothy Kilgallen was one of the most famous journalists in America for most of the first half of the 20th century. She did everything from she had a very, very powerful gossip column is really how it started, but she also covered hard news, and she covered kidnapping stuff, and I think she covered Lindbergh and everything else. And then she starts digging into the Kennedy assassination, and she got the only interview with Jack Ruby. And she said that and she was also a panelist on What's My Line, by the way,
Right.
the
That's how
entire time.
people know about her. Yeah.
Is What's My Line, and so she had a contract for a book. She said she was going to blow the lid off the whole thing. Well, she does What's My Line on a Sunday Night Live, and on Monday they find her in a room in her house in which she never went and never slept, and they found her in her clothes, dead, her makeup on, sitting somewhere, dressed somewhere, like it was completely out of character. And the file that she had that several people saw, including people on the set of What's My Line, has never been seen or heard from or about ever again. So the conspiracy theory for decades has been that she was killed because she was going to say something. So if your question is, do I believe that the government would kill somebody who was going to how many people have been killed because of UAPs, you think, in the last 50 years? Because they saw something or were about to say something.
Right.
So I'm not naive about that.
Yeah, neither am I, and it's just horrible that is what this is coming to, or could potentially come to this. But those in power have nothing to fear because they know they can get away with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And see, and that's where it leaves us. And that's why we end up spending 45 minutes raging every morning. Because
It's
of the
true.
fact.
I
But
don't. One of my resolutions for the year was to stop scrolling, and I got to tell you, it's hard, and I get away from it, but I start my day in a little bit of a better mindset.
But here's the thing: is you shouldn't. The problem is I'm with you. And my original plan is that I used to sleep with my phone. My iPhone was my alarm clock. And I would, get up and turn it off, and then I'd start, okay, what did this asshole do now? And that was the first one.
Oh.
And I wasn't going to do that anymore. But you can't stick your head in the sand.
I'm not sticking my head in the sand.
No, I'm not saying you are. I'm
I
not
get
saying
that
you.
information throughout the day. It's just I don't jump into that bath first thing, and because the information, as I'm talking to people and having interactions and seeing headlines, by the end of the day, I've gathered all that information, but I don't start in that dreaded spot.
Well, with that, I'm going to leave us with something that I mentioned just briefly at the top of the show, and again, that is the Caroline Levitt saying that the Melania movie made more money than Star Wars opening, and so I did a little checking,
Mhm.
And here's the thing, Star Wars, you know how many theaters Star Wars opened in 77?
Oh yeah, like 20.
It was 37.
Yeah,
It opened
37.
in 37 and it grossed $8 million. I'm sorry, it grossed $8 million by when adjusted for inflation.
Right, right.
And Melania's movie grossed 7, which makes it the highest grossing, I think,
Documentary,
opening
yeah.
for a documentary ever. But what documentary ever had $35 million in
Yeah.
promotion?
Yeah.
You know, and what documentary ever cost $40 million to make?
How many
Yeah, it cost
theaters? How many theaters did this open in?
1,778. 1,778 theaters. And they say there are plenty of theaters that are like one person or no people. And the audience, that's what I don't get either. The audience was older white women. That's who she
Interesting.
drew. That's who she drew, was older white women. So with that, anything you guys want to mention? You working on a picture, Dana?
Yeah, I'm writing something, nothing worth mentioning now, but you can listen to my podcast, The Dana Gould Hour. Never an hour, always a podcast.
When does it drop?
I do one a month, and it's about 2.5 hours long. And it's out right now.
Okay, thanks for the invite, by the way, too.
And well, I do
I
one a month.
appreciate
So
you having me on. Thank you.
I don't do that much. And Hanging with Dr. Z, which you can find on YouTube.
All right. And Robert, anything you want to mention?
Most of my stuff is on my website, robertmack.com. On most Wednesdays before this, I have a live stream show. It's called Robert Mack's Virtually Funny. And all the information and all my tour stuff is at robertmack.com.
All right. And I want to mention, I mentioned a little bit earlier, I've got a show that I do called The Great American Shit Show. And what it is it's 4 monologues on life in the Trump era. So I am doing it at Las Positas College in Livermore, California. They got a 450-seat theater, and this is Super Bowl Sunday. And right before I came on the live stream, I checked ticket sales, and there are 14 seats left.
Wow,
And
congratulations.
it's Super Bowl Sunday. Well, no, I mean, I appreciate the congratulations, but that just it tells you how pissed off people are. You know, either that or they don't want to see the Kid Rock halftime alternate show. The Kid Rock. What are they? Who's gonna watch? Well, we know who's gonna watch. What am I saying? You know, rather than see Bad Bunny, I'll check out Kid
Yeah.
Rock.
One
So
last thing.
yeah.
I heard somebody, I wish I could remember who it was. They said Kid Rock sounds like the code name for Epstein's Island.
Yes, that was funny.
That's funny. It's wrong. The funniest stuff usually is really
Yeah.
wrong.
It usually is.
All right, Robert Mack, Dana Gould. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you doing it.
Take care. Thanks.
Good having you on.
Bye.
And that's going to do it for this week. If the world is still here, we will be back next week. There are, as I mentioned, a handful of tickets if you want to come to the Great American Shit Show, and you are in the Bay Area and the Livermore area. Which is if you're in there, you know where Livermore is. Tickets are available at Eventbrite. So go and check it out. If you like what it is that you see here on YouTube, please do us a favor. And I'm asking for 2 favors. One is I'm going to ask you to subscribe if you haven't already. Please subscribe, help us get our subscriptions up. And I'm also going to ask you, if you like the show, to tell one friend to check it out and to subscribe. Those of you who are listening to the audio version of the show, please, if you like what it is that you're hearing, go and give us a 5-star review, and leave us a review too, because that helps people to find the show. So hopefully I will check you out next week. Till then, be kind to your neighbor. He knows where you live. And with that, we are live, so we have to let ourselves out, Robert. So I'll check you out next time. Bye-bye.